Insecurity is like a shadow that blocks our true potential, a voice that prevents us from being everything we could be. Imagine living without the chains of that paralyzing doubt, without the fear that makes you question your own worth. Stoic philosophy, so ancient and powerful, offers profound lessons to confront this mental barrier. And today, we will delve into 10 pieces of advice from Marcus Aurelius and other great Stoics to leave insecurity in the past. Throughout the video, you will feel how each piece of advice is a flame of courage and clarity, helping you recognize the strength that has always been within you. Comment the key phrase, "I choose Stoic confidence," to affirm your commitment to breaking free from these shackles and taking the first step toward a new mindset. If you want to transform your life and start acting with the confidence you deserve, then this is the perfect moment to subscribe to the channel and leave a like to support this content and help others discover the power of Stoicism. Get ready for inspiring content that will change the way you see yourself. Are you ready to join us on this journey? 1. Don't seek external approval. Imagine how many opportunities you have let slip away, how many times you have hesitated because you were trapped in the idea of what others would think. Insecurity is fueled by this incessant desire to be validated, to hear words of approval from those around us. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest exponents of Stoicism, teaches us that seeking external approval is like handing over the keys to your life to others, allowing them to control your well-being and choices. Instead, he invites us to turn our gaze inward, to build our own fortress, made of virtues and unshakable convictions. True security is not found in applause, likes, or external recognition. It is born within you, fueled by a deep sense of self-sufficiency and confidence in your own virtues. Character, wisdom, justice, and courage. These are the pillars that support who you truly are. When you commit to cultivating these virtues, you begin to see the world differently, and the opinions of others lose their weight. Marcus Aurelius challenges us to adopt a stance of emotional independence, where personal worth is non-negotiable. He knew that those who depend on approval to feel good about themselves end up as prisoners, always waiting for a sign of acceptance. Imagine a life where you decide what is right for you without questioning whether you will be accepted or rejected. A life where you have complete control over your decisions, guided by your own principles. By rejecting this need for external approval, you rediscover the power of being authentic and reclaim your freedom. Focus on enhancing your character every day. Be someone who values integrity and justice, even when no one is watching. Stoic wisdom teaches us that when we act according to our own values, we set aside the concern for what others think. This freedom not only eliminates insecurity, but also gives us immense inner strength, a quiet confidence, the certainty that we are following the path that is truly ours. And remember, from the moment you choose to focus on your internal development, on your own journey of self-discovery and evolution, you become a stronger and more unshakable version of yourself. Do not let external judgment determine your worth. Position yourself as the protagonist of your own life. When you embrace this concept and practice self-sufficiency, insecurity dissolves and gives way to an unshakable tranquility. 2. Learn to live with uncertainty. Uncertainty is a constant presence in our lives. How often do we become obsessed with what could happen or with things that are out of our control? This anxiety, which robs us of sleep and peace, is a clear symptom of our futile attempt to control the uncontrollable. However, Stoicism teaches us that true freedom and security do not come from having all the answers or guaranteeing every outcome, but from learning to live in harmony with the unknown. For Stoics, accepting uncertainty is not about resignation. Rather, it is about freeing ourselves from the chains that prevent us from acting and living fully in the present. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic masters, reminds us that what is truly under our control are only our choices and attitudes. Think about it. How many things in our lives are completely beyond our reach? From the decisions of others to future events, most of life is a territory we will never fully dominate. So, instead of trying to manipulate what does not depend on us, Stoics suggest that we focus our energy on something we can truly control, our response to events and our behavior in the face of adversity. Imagine if you could simply release the burden of constant worry. Let go of the exhausting attempt to predict every detail and simply embrace the present moment. When we understand that uncertainty is part of life's nature, we find serenity. We begin to see that not everything needs an immediate answer, and not every problem has to be resolved beforehand. Living with uncertainty means opening ourselves up to the unexpected, without fear of what it may bring. This accessibility is a daily exercise, a practice of detachment from expectations and trust in the natural flow of life. Of course, this does not mean being passive or indifferent to what surrounds us, but rather learning to distance ourselves emotionally from factors beyond our control. Imagine a lightness in living without the weight of controlling every aspect, without the constant fear that something will go wrong. Once we free ourselves from the fear of uncertainty, we open the door to living more confidently. We feel an internal freedom, as if each uncertainty ceases to be a threat and becomes just another part of life that we are facing. This is the power of accepting uncertainty with serenity. We become more flexible, less affected by the chaos around us. Our inner strength grows, and we trust our ability to handle any circumstance that arises. In every decision you make, remember, focus on what you can control, not on what depends on you. It is in that moment that putting all your energy into what truly matters diminishes insecurity. Because by living with uncertainties, we realize that they do not define us. Rather, it is our stance toward them that shapes who we are. 3. Exercise the courage to be authentic. Often, the root of our insecurity lies in a constant desire to please others, seeking approval and accessibility at any cost. We worry about what others think of us, the criticisms we might face, or the expectations we project about who we should be. This pressure generates overwhelming insecurity, a deep fear of being judged, blamed, or even rejected. But Stoicism invites us to challenge this mindset. It teaches us that true freedom and inner security arise when we embrace who we really are and free ourselves from the need to please others. Being authentic requires courage, as revealing our true selves exposes us. We set aside masks and defenses, allowing others to see our genuine essence. With this exposure comes the fear of judgment and disappointment. However, as the ancient Stoics said, pleasing everyone is impossible, and living to meet others' expectations is, in essence, a form of slavery. They remind us that it is better to seek peace and freedom that come from authenticity than to live imprisoned by the shackles of external approval. Imagine the power of living without worrying about others' opinions, acting according to your own values rather than what others think is right. Stoicism teaches us that this freedom is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves. For when we are true to our essence, inner security naturally emerges. After all, if we are aligned with our own values and convictions, we do not need external validation to know we are on the right path. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic masters, once wrote, "The perfection of character is to live each day as if it were the last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense." These words echo the essence of modern Stoicism: to live fully, guided by our own principles, without pretense. Insecurity, which often arises from the attempt to be someone we are not, begins to dissipate when we choose to follow our own path. Now imagine what it is like to walk through life with this courage. With every decision, every moment, you grow in harmony with who you truly are, without being swayed by external expectations or judgments. This is a powerful, liberating, and profoundly transformative feeling. When we choose authenticity and have the courage to be ourselves, the opinions and criticisms of others lose their weight. They may still exist, but they cease to matter, as they no longer dictate our self-esteem. 4. Strengthen your mind through discipline. Discipline is the foundation that builds a strong, unshakable mind and is undoubtedly one of the most powerful weapons against insecurity. Insecurity, that inner voice questioning our abilities and worth, is fueled by a lack of control, a sense of directionlessness, and the tendency to seek immediate satisfaction over specific long-term goals. When we give space to this weakness, we allow fear to grow, doubts to multiply, and our self-confidence to crumble. Stoicism teaches us that discipline is the path to silencing those internal voices that limit us. By controlling our desires, we are not led astray by the insatiable quest for external approval, or by minor immediate satisfactions. Instead, we direct our energy towards what truly matters, our deeper goals, developing a stable mind, and cultivating inner peace. This practice is powerful because it makes us realize that true security comes from within, from a firm commitment to our choices and values. Imagine building a routine where each decision aligns with your purpose. Each action, no matter how small, becomes a brick in the construction of a confident and strong mind. Discipline is the thread that stitches our days together, bringing coherence to our actions. In practice, you not only gain control over your reactions, but also begin to see the difficulties and uncertainties of life more clearly. You become someone who is not shaken by any challenge, someone who remains centered, guided by a greater goal and not by the emotions of the moment. But this level of discipline requires self-reflection. You need to be willing to look inward, face discomfort, and examine the habits that sabotage your peace. Ask yourself, how often do you give in to impulses that bring no lasting benefits? How many times do you abandon a goal because of minor obstacles or fleeting temptations? Self-reflection is an essential step in identifying these weaknesses and working on them. Start with simple yet consistent habits. Establish a sleep routine that boosts your energy. Take care of your body with regular exercise. Find time to meditate or reflect on what really matters. By doing this, you will be building, day by day, a resilient mind. And this resilience becomes the antidote to insecurity. Remember, a disciplined mind is not a rigid mind, but a strengthened mind. It is not limited by the restrictions it imposes on itself. Rather, it is freed from the shackles of fear and doubt. 5. Understand that everyone has insecurities. Everyone has faced feelings of insecurity at some point. That uncomfortable feeling, which sometimes arises out of nowhere and takes over our minds, is a universal experience. Even the people who seem most confident, exuding charisma and courage, also have moments of doubt. Recognizing this simple yet profound truth can be liberating. This understanding not only brings us closer to others, but also helps us build a kinder and more compassionate relationship with ourselves. Once we comprehend that insecurity is part of the human experience, we stop seeing ourselves as defective or inadequate. We are all vulnerable, and this vulnerability is what makes us authentic and connects us. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest proponents of Stoicism, also dealt with his own insecurities. He wrote about his fears, anxieties, and internal conflicts as a way to organize his mind and strengthen his spirit. And if even one of the greatest emperors in history, someone with so much power and wisdom, experienced doubts and fears, then perhaps insecurity is not an insurmountable obstacle, but a step in the journey of self-discovery. Insecurity, in fact, is an opportunity for growth. It is the starting point for questioning our limiting beliefs, the patterns we adopt without realizing, the comparisons we make with others. Instead of allowing it to consume us, we can use it as a warning signal, a guide to the areas we need to develop. Every time we feel insecure, we are presented with a chance to become stronger, more self-sufficient, and more at peace with our own identity. This understanding is even more powerful when applied to the people around us. Remembering that each person has their own internal battles makes us less judgmental and more understanding. That colleague who seems cold may be protecting themselves from their own insecurities. That friend who isolates themselves may be facing an emotion that no one knows about. When we see the insecurities of others with empathy, we become a source of support and inspiration. Think about the impact of considering that everyone, absolutely everyone, has moments of doubt. This thought can lighten the weight we carry on our shoulders. The pressure to be perfect, to meet unattainable expectations, diminishes. We realize that, in fact, we are all learners on the same journey, trying to find our best version. This understanding frees us from trying to prove something to others and allows us to be authentic. And this is where you become more compassionate with yourself. When you make a mistake, when you fail, or when you feel inferior, instead of punishing yourself, you remember, this is part of the process. Each of us is at a stage of development. Today, perhaps, you struggle with insecurities that tomorrow will not weigh the same. This cycle of evolution is natural, and Stoic philosophy teaches us to accept this with tranquility and security. Be kind to yourself and remember, it's human to feel insecurity, but it's divine to find the strength to overcome it. Stoicism teaches us that true power comes from within, that the courage to face the world and our own limitations arises from a compassionate heart that accepts itself with all its imperfections. We are not perfect, and that's okay. What really matters is our willingness to evolve, so embrace the reality that insecurity is part of the journey. By understanding and accepting this, you unlock incredible power, the ability to rise every time you need to, with the certainty that each stumble is another step toward self-discovery. It's not about getting rid of insecurities completely, but about learning to coexist with them and using them as fuel to become a more confident and complete person. 6. Do not compare yourself to others. The Stoic art of living for yourself. Comparing ourselves to others is like a slow poison that corrodes our self-confidence and makes us forget what truly matters, our own journey. Think of the times you felt diminished upon seeing someone with more success, money, or recognition. Every time we fall into the trap of comparing our lives to others, we are in fact ignoring what is truly ours, something unique and irreplaceable. The Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, remind us that each person has their own path. Marcus Aurelius said we should not be distracted by others' lives, as this prevents us from being our true selves. He believed that true power and value lie in being faithful to our purpose, without being affected by the opinions or successes of others. Comparison makes us forget this. Instead of seeking our best version, we end up chasing standards that have nothing to do with our true selves. Imagine living without the need to prove anything to anyone, not caring about how much others have or appear to be. Imagine feeling at peace knowing that your progress is enough, that your achievements have value in themselves, and that you don't need anyone else's approval. This is the power that Stoicism can bring. It teaches us to respect our own process, our victories, and our learnings, and to realize that everything has its time. Everyone has their challenges, and comparing our pains and struggles to others' successes is unfair and self-destructive. The truth is that when we compare ourselves to others, we ignore the battles they face and fail to appreciate our own growth. Often, those who seem ahead of us may be confronting their own monsters. Our view of what others experience is merely a projection, an illusion we create to justify our insecurity. The deeper we sink into this comparison, the more we lose connection with who we really are and what we truly want. When you let go of this need to compare, something magical happens. Your self-confidence blossoms. You begin to see the value in each step you've taken, the difficulties you've overcome, and the dreams you've achieved. What once seemed little begins to hold meaning, because you understand that each achievement is a piece of your story, and that this story only makes sense when told authentically, without filters, and without the need to appear as something you are not. Now imagine the impact this would have on your life. If every time the temptation to compare arose, you remembered that your journey is unique, that no one can take away the value of each struggle you faced. Insecurity diminishes when you focus on yourself, when you realize that your achievements are precious, and that your worth does not lie in competing with anyone, but in being the best version of who you already are. Therefore, the advice is simple but powerful. Do not compare yourself to others. Instead of wasting energy on what others have achieved, invest in becoming someone you admire. Look at yourself, value your accomplishments, celebrate your victories, no matter how small they may seem. Recognize that your story is sacred, and that the time and effort dedicated to your growth cannot be measured by someone else's success. Each step you take is a step away from insecurity, a conscious choice to live for yourself. Along this path, you will discover that your peace and self-confidence do not lie in comparisons, but in fully embracing your own journey. 7. Be clear about your values. Inner security arises from certainty in our values. When you understand and clearly define what you value in life, you create a solid foundation that helps you remain unshakable, even in the face of the pressures and uncertainties of the world. It's like building an internal pillar, a foundation that supports and guides you when the winds of doubt try to knock you down. Imagine the strength of someone who doesn't let themselves be swayed by others' opinions, because they know exactly who they are and what matters to them. This person moves with purpose, and every action reflects what they truly believe. This is what Stoicism speaks of when it teaches us to know and defend our values. They are not just beautiful principles on paper, but a daily practice, a continuous choice that shapes every decision and protects us against the emptiness of insecurity. If you still don't know what your values are, then it's time to look within. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What would I never give up, even under strong pressure? These values can be honesty, courage, compassion, respect. It doesn't matter what they are. What's essential is that they are genuinely yours. When you live according to your own values, the power of external influences diminishes. You no longer need to conform to the molds imposed by society, as you have your own standard, an internal measure that serves as a reference. This practice makes the opinions of others lose their power over you. The criticisms that could once shake your confidence become mere suggestions, because you know you are moving in the right direction, the direction you have chosen and believe is correct. Once you clearly define your values, you will immediately feel a transformation in how you react to life's challenges and pressures. It's as if you gain emotional armor, an invisible barrier against insecurity. The feeling is one of freedom, of independence. You begin to act with integrity, knowing that every step is faithful to your principles. And even if the world around you descends into chaos, you remain steadfast, with a sense of inner peace that cannot be shaken. This is the true power of having clarity in your values, because while many live trying to please others, adapting to be accepted, you start to be guided by an internal commitment, something that no one can take away from you. Interestingly, paradoxically, when you become true to yourself, you begin to attract people who respect who you really are, for there is a magnetic strength in those who live with authenticity. It's not about being perfect. We all have moments of doubt and uncertainty. But every time you return to your values, every time you remember what truly matters to you, it's as if you recharge a source of unshakable confidence and security. And the most inspiring part is that this security doesn't depend on anything external. It arises from within, from your conscious choices and principles. If this resonates with you, if you feel there is something powerful in living according to your values, comment with the phrase, "I choose to live authentically." Affirm your commitment to this idea and establish this decision to follow what truly matters. By doing so, you will be planting the seed of a confidence that will grow over time, a confidence that will not be affected by the ups and downs of life. And remember, this clarity is a daily practice. You may need to review your values from time to time, adjust them, understand that certain principles may evolve as your journey transforms. But the important thing is to always keep the flame of authenticity alive, so that every action of yours is a reflection of your true self. 8. Cultivate emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is one of the fundamental pillars for facing life's challenges with balance and determination. Imagine yourself as a sturdy tree with deep roots capable of withstanding the fiercest storms. When life presents us with adversities, it's easy to succumb to frustration, discouragement, and doubt. However, true strength lies not in avoiding difficulties, but in learning and growing from them. Every challenge we face brings with it a valuable lesson. Ask yourself, what can this situation teach me? How can I use this experience to become stronger and wiser? This change in perspective can be transformative. Instead of viewing difficulties as an insurmountable obstacle, start seeing them as an opportunity for growth. Remember that how we react to events is what truly defines our path. We cannot control the situations that occur to us, but we can always control our response to them. When you allow yourself to feel, reflect, and adapt, your emotional resilience strengthens. You learn to turn every fall into a new push, every mistake into a step toward success. Practicing emotional resilience also means being kind to yourself. Instead of criticizing yourself for every failure, practice self-compassion. Remember that we all face difficulties, and this does not define who we are, but rather how we react to those situations. By cultivating this resilience, you not only improve your ability to face challenges, but also inspire those around you to do the same. Think of the great figures in history who teach us about resilience. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, faced personal losses and countless challenges during his reign, yet he always sought to learn from each experience, finding strength in his Stoic philosophy. If he could do it, so can you. Resilience is a skill that develops over time and with practice. Throughout this video, I invite you to reflect on your own experiences. What challenges have shaped you? How can you apply these Stoic teachings in your life? I encourage you to share your stories in the comments and commit to cultivating your emotional resilience. After all, your journey may inspire someone who is going through a tough time. Remember, true strength lies not in not feeling pain, but in knowing that, despite it, you can rise and move forward. Life is made up of ups and downs, and emotional resilience is what allows us to navigate those waves. So take a deep breath, look at the challenges ahead of you, and know that you have the power to overcome them. 9. Don't take criticism personally. Criticism can be like arrows, shot randomly and sometimes even maliciously. It's easy to let the pain they cause take hold of you, but it's essential to remember that the power these criticisms have over us is a choice. Instead of absorbing each word as an absolute truth, it's time to develop an emotional shield. By understanding that others' opinions reflect more about them than about you, you become the master of your reactions. Imagine yourself in a room full of people. Some may praise your idea while others criticize it. If you allow each person's opinion to affect you, you'll be on a constant emotional roller coaster, vulnerable to every critique. Stoicism teaches us to view criticism objectively. By assessing whether a criticism is constructive, you can use it as a growth tool. Ask yourself, is this criticism valid? Is there something I can learn from it? If the answer is yes, then use that criticism to improve yourself. If not, let it pass like a leaf falling in the wind. Don't forget that no one is immune to criticism. Even the greatest leaders and thinkers face disapproval. Marcus Aurelius, a pillar of Stoicism, wrote about the importance of accepting others' opinions without allowing them to shape your essence. For him, true freedom comes from within. When you stop worrying about what others think and focus on being the best version of yourself, you free yourself from a great burden. Now, when facing a criticism, do a mental exercise. Visualize the criticism as a stone thrown into a lake. It may create ripples, but soon the water's surface calms again. The same applies to you. By not taking criticism personally, you allow the waves of disapproval to dissipate, returning to your calm and strong essence. Remember, the perception you have of yourself is far more important than others' perceptions. In this process, take a pause. Breathe deeply and reflect on your journey. You are more than the words others use to describe you. Acknowledge your achievements, your values, and what you truly represent. By building a solid foundation of self-esteem and self-confidence, you create a barrier against destructive criticism. Finally, when faced with criticism, make a commitment to yourself. Choose not to let it affect you. Instead of getting lost in the storm of others' opinions, choose to be the captain of your ship, navigating wisely and firmly. With each criticism you don't take personally, you become stronger and more confident. And this is the true essence of Stoicism, the freedom to be who you are, regardless of what others think. 10. Make self-control your ally. Self-control is one of the most powerful keys to overcoming insecurity. In fact, it is the foundation that supports our ability to act with confidence in a world that often seems unpredictable and chaotic. When we learn to master our impulses and emotions, we can look at situations more rationally and balanced. This allows us not only to react more thoughtfully, but also to shape our responses from a Stoic perspective. Imagine, for a moment, what happens when you face a challenge. Instead of succumbing to insecurity, visualize yourself taking a deep breath and analyzing the situation. Ask yourself, what can I control here? What are my options? By focusing on what is within your control, your thoughts and actions, you begin to dissipate the fog of doubt. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom lies in our capacity for choice. When we exercise self-control, we choose to act rather than react, to advance rather than retreat. It's important to emphasize that self-control is not synonymous with emotional repression. Instead, it is an invitation to observe our feelings without allowing ourselves to be dominated by them. By practicing this form of awareness, you can transform negative emotions like anxiety and insecurity into a driving force. This doesn't mean you won't feel insecure. We all do at times. The difference lies in how you decide to deal with it. With self-control, you can acknowledge the insecurity, but not let it define who you are or how you act. To cultivate self-control, start by setting small goals. If you feel insecurity arising in certain situations, like during a presentation or while socializing, begin practicing self-control in those moments. Use breathing techniques, jot down your thoughts, or visualize a positive outcome before acting. Every small success accumulates and strengthens your ability to control your impulses. Additionally, practicing gratitude is an excellent ally of self-control. By acknowledging the good things in your life, you shift your focus from insecurities to your achievements and values. This not only boosts your self-esteem, but also creates a positive cycle that makes it easier to maintain control. So make self-control your ally in the fight against insecurity. Remember that you are stronger than you think. By taking command of your thoughts and actions, you are taking a firm step toward a fuller and more confident life. Congratulations on reaching the end and completing the video. Your dedication to seeking self-knowledge and personal evolution is truly inspiring. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take this opportunity to do so now. Join us on this journey filled with Stoic teachings that can transform your everyday life. And don't forget to leave your like, as it is essential for this content to reach more people who, like you, are seeking personal development. To let me know you watched until the end, comment below with the keyword overcoming. I'm very excited to see your messages and hear about your experiences. Remember that every step counts. Let's continue together in this quest for wisdom and inner strength. Until the next video.